This review's been a long time coming, but here it is. For a lot of reasons, my P-38's been knocking around the shop for about a year, but now I've got it put together and we're ready to take this thing out and fly it. The scale ducting on the counter-rotating engine serves to cool electric motors inside. A little inset detail like this makes a plane look better without compromising performance. I'm not a big fan of scale planes, but when I can get one this well done, with everything installed already, well, I'll go ahead and fly it. And the P-38 comes with a full set of lights, including a landing light that comes on when the gear are down. The scale ailerons are large enough that they should give you some roll authority in the air. All four of the flap segments were pre-installed and everything was set nicely. And they appear to have plenty of throw in case I want to try some different settings myself. Even the linkages on the twin rudders were perfectly set up right out of the box. The major pieces of the P-38 screw together easily. There's really no point in showing all of that. The cockpit comes pre-assembled as part of the battery hatch, so I get to be a little bit scale. And while they have a lot of panel lines molded in, they didn't get nuts with it. They don't call this plane lightning because you can see the panel lines while it flies by. This plane has retracts, sequence doors, lots of lights, and other things, so there's a lot of wiring, and that worried me a little bit. I know it looks awful, but it's really not that bad. Lots of the wires are already plugged in, and the rest have labels on them so you can match them up with those on the block. I decided to go slow and actually read all the plug labels and those on the block, and got everything put together pretty easily. To get all the wiring out to the motors and retracts and stuff, we push all the wires down in this little channel. They give us some covers for this, and we use hot glue to hold them in place. And if you're a klutz like me, you can even reposition them once or twice. This kind of stuff is where my patience for scale starts wearing pretty thin, but I got them on and they stayed in place. Besides, if you can see these when my P-38 flies by, my pilot's probably dead already. I had this Spectrum 10-channel receiver, so I decided to stuff it in there. There wasn't a bunch of extra room, but it fit. I taped the battery cables down just to make getting the hatch cover on a lot easier. I fly my P-38 on a pair of Admiral 4S 3000 milliamp LiPos. I'm going to shoot for 3-minute flight times and then start working my way up from there depending on what's left over. Because of how I mounted the batteries, there was a little conflict with the hatch cover. To get the nose of the hatch cover to fit down into place, I had to just notch out the foam just a little bit where the batteries were. That was the only fit problem I had with the whole plane, and that was my fault. I was impressed at how well all the retracts and the sequence doors worked right out of the box. I didn't have to tune or tweak anything. Motion has some oleo strut upgrades for these gear, and I may try that eventually. Even though this is my plane, the bays are already green. That's because they painted them. I decided to show the retracts working again just because I'm so impressed at not having to fix nothing with this set of retracts. And when nobody was looking, I kind of ran them up and down a few times just to watch. This is the first time I had sequence doors that actually work. And the wheels are plenty big for most prepared grass runways. I use my balancing machine because trying to get your fingers in between all those props and everything to hit the CG points is kind of hard. And this way it's easy to start piling weight up where you need it to see what works best. In this case I needed about 1.5 ounces right at the front of the battery compartment. When my plane will sit right in the middle of the CG range and be able to move it like this, reposition it and it just stays there, I know I got it balanced right. The P-38 comes with easy to adjust linkages, and all of them were installed and adjusted properly at the factory. I wound up having to tweak one aileron just a couple of turns. After that, everything was fine. So keep an eye out for the P-38 Maiden Day. We hope to do that soon. With any kind of luck, we might even get some video.